Okay, this is English 321, Week 7, Part 3. Another aspect I want to draw your attention to, something I imagine a lot of you don't know about. Not your fault, you're young. People are only we know this. People are only alive like this long. It's just you have this tiny little life, you know. And youth and beauty are only, this is how long you're alive, and you're sort of beautiful and young for an even smaller part of that. It's worth pointing out that one of the things that haunts the movie, and I hate to say this, but I think it's necessary to say, is Kathleen Turner. Kathleen Turner is the actress who plays Miss Lisbon, the girl's mother. Now, I'm sure you probably didn't notice, if you don't know who she is, she probably didn't jump out at you as being particularly interesting or dramatic, but it's worth, part of thinking about how the Virgin Suicides works is thinking about who Kathleen Turner is. So Kathleen Turner was in this movie called Body Heat in the 1980s. I know it's hard to believe if you've only ever seen her in Virgin Suicides, but Kathleen Turner was one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood. Now, she's no Grace Kelly. She's no, but obviously there's a lot, you know, but at the time, in the 80s, she was a big sex symbol. And I think she's absolutely beautiful, but it's part of the sadness of the movie, that young people are only young for a brief time, and they only have these couple of years to be young and beautiful. The fact that Kathleen Turner is in the movie will remind older audience members that if they have any youth and beauty left, it's going to be gone soon. She's to see someone who used to be such a sex symbol, and Body Heat's an okay movie. It's fun, but I wouldn't go crazy for it. And it's probably not. It's a good movie, but you don't need to go crazy finding it. But it's also, I think it's Body Heat. Anyway, I'll look it up, but I think it's about Kathleen Turner and Body Heat. Anyway, Peggy Sue Got Married, by the way, is a better, Francis Ford Coppola, directed by Sofia Coppola's dad. Anyway, alright, cool. And Nicolas Cage, by the way, is Sofia Coppola's cousin? I think that's right. Anyway, so it's worth pointing out that if you don't know who Kathleen Turner is, that's a kind of crucial thing. Okay, cool. I love the line early in the movie when the doctor is confronting Cecilia about her suicide, and he says, "You're 13 years old. You're not even old enough to know how bad life gets." That's a fucked up thing to say to a 13-year-old who just tried to commit suicide. Like, he's literally telling her, "Why are you killing yourself? It gets so much worse than this." Like, oh my god. And then I love that she comes back with, "You've never been a 13-year-old girl." Which is such an interesting thing to say, the idea that the pain of being a 13-year-old girl is actually worse than whatever the doctor is thinking of. It's just I don't know, it's such a fascinating, she's such a fascinating little figure for the brief time that she's in the movie. Okay, cool. Okay, I talked about the years, I'm not gonna talk about that, that's stupid. Okay, a crucial, if you're interested in this movie, a crucial other movie you should watch is Stand By Me, which is based off a Stephen King short story. It's interesting, there's 3 groups of kids in this movie. So there's the house full of girls, and then there are the boys they go to the dance with, and then there are the and so basically it's the popular girls, the jocks, and the nerds. So there's the popular girls that are well, not popular, but the beautiful girls, and the Lisbon girls, the 5 of them. And then there's the jocks that they go to the dance with Trip. And then there are the nerdy boys across the street who kind of watch them and think about them and dream about them. It's worth, but the nerdy kids across the street that are sort of growing up paying attention to these girls, they are very much similar to the 4 kids from Stand By Me. So if you're interested in this film, highly recommend Stand By Me. Also, I'll say this, if you're looking for a paper topic, I would love to read a paper about the relationship between Stand By Me and the Virgin Suicide. So I'll give that to you for absolutely nothing. Cool. Okay. Yeah. I also want to point out a kind of metaphor that runs through the film that I really like. And it's a complex idea, and it's a little difficult to talk about, but the trees are sick. And the tree in the yard of the Lisbon girls has a disease, like a fungus. It gets all the other trees sick. And then those trees have to be cut, they all have to be cut down. And it's interesting, too, that the tree, they put plaster in the tree and the girl puts her palm print in it. That's like their tree. But the idea that the trees get each other sick, this movie is playing around with an idea that suicide and mental illness are catching in some way. That it feels a little bit like, it's interesting that the boys imagine, maybe Cecilia's suicide was caused by this boy who lived in the neighborhood who jumped off the second story of his family's house because he was in love with this tennis playing girl and he wanted to declare his love in this dramatic act. Now, of course, that kid jumped off the roof and turned out to be completely fine, but Cecilia also dies by jumping off the second floor finally when she lands on that fence. And so it's that immediately introduces the idea, and again, we never find out what caused Cecilia's suicide. But the boys speculate, what if this kid jumping off the second floor because of his passionate love for this tennis playing girl, that's where Cecilia got the idea from, and it spread. And then did Cecilia's suicide haunt her four sisters until they also committed suicide? And is that similar to the tree which got the other trees sick and they all died? It's an interesting kind of metaphor. The idea that mental illness can be catching. It's a difficult thing to talk about, but sometimes suicide is an idea, and ideas can be shared, and that's a tricky, dangerous thing. But it's one of the reasons why people are careful about what do you show young children in movies, for example, because ideas can kind of spread and flow in this kind of uncontrolled way, like a disease, like a fungus. If in Othello, for example, Iago can put an idea in Othello's head, and just by talking to him, he can ruin a very powerful person and destroy his whole life. He says, our conceits are dangerous poisons, meaning your ideas conveyed by your words can be like poison. And Cecilia her sisters may be haunted by Cecilia's death to the point where they too commit suicide. Okay, cool. I think this is going pretty good. The boys say that they never understood what happened in that house. And the movie is essentially the story of the nerdy boys next door talking about how they were fascinated by these 5 beautiful girls who lived across the street, and how all these girls committed suicide, and they've never really understood why. There's been a fundamental mystery all their lives about these 5 beautiful, mysterious girls. I think that's the heart of it, is mystery, and you'll see that same kind of mystery pop up, and it's one of those things I'm real interested in. It's one of those things David Lynch is interested in. The secret under the suburbs, the bugs underneath. We'll see it in the final film we watched this semester called Barton Fink, and you'll see it in quite a few other movies. In David Lynch's Lost Highway, which will end this unit, you see the same kind of idea. It's a man trying to understand a woman, but can you ever really understand another person? And there's a fundamental mystery sort of at the heart of things. I don't know what you thought about the movie. I will say that you can imagine a louder version of Virgin Suicides. It's very easy to sort of picture what that would look like. I think at the beginning of the movie, all these girls committed suicide, and the boys don't know why. And so you feel like, well, what's probably going to happen in the movie is we're going to find out why they committed suicide. And I think one of the things you're expecting is the father molesting them? Is the mother so severely religious that she's torturing them? And you can imagine a movie that reveals like a much worse home life. And then it's about like the secret torture behind closed doors, and people being molested and people being hurt, and maybe they have to prey on grains of rice to hurt their knees, and the mother's whipping them. And this is not that movie. Now, I don't know whether, because it's not that movie, I don't know whether you found it boring. I actually think it's more beautiful and mysterious that we never really do understand why they do this, why these girls commit suicide. Yeah, okay. I know usually I avoid spoilers, but the movie's called The Virgin Suicide, so I don't think it's like a big shock that, it ends with a bunch of dead bodies at the end. Okay, good. I think we're doing good. Okay, cool. I will come back in the next video, and I'll see you there.